No doubt you've read the filthy letters between James Joyce and his beloved Nora. They've circulated the internet a few times for their bawdy, dirty, explicit excerpts that would make even a sailor blush. But there's something that people skip over here that I want to discuss today, and that is how sweet, romantic, and loving these letters actually are, and how these depraved missives are an incredible show of devotion and love, and how some of us could do with a little bit more of James Joyce's can do attitude when it comes to intimacy. Hey guys, it's me, Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Just the little literature nerd here, ready to spill the tea on all the classics and beyond. Today I'm talking about Irish author James Joyce. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. We have so much ground to cover in our journey here. So thank you so much for following along. So, firstly, just a quick dive into James Joyce. He was an Irish author, poet, and critic in the Edwardian era, and one of the foundational authors of the modernist movement. His most famous works would be Dubliners, A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man, and Ulysses. And he's from a big Irish Catholic family, which was working class and sort of verging on the edge of impoverished, thanks to his deadbeat drunk father. And he was well educated and well driven to accomplish much in his writing career as he grew into a young adult. When Joyce was 22 years old, he met Nora Barnacle. And as the story goes, he saw her walking past and he just fell madly in love with her and asked her on a date. And it was said that she actually stood him up on the first date, but he tried again. He wrote her a very sweet note saying, if it's not too much, will you please meet with me? I really want to go on a date with you. And then she did. And the two of them got off to a very strong start. They went for a nice walk on the south bank of the river down in Dublin. And apparently, she, on that first date, reached into his trousers and gave him a lovely hand job. So that sealed the deal. These two were just red hot for each other. And it didn't stop there. So the two of them began a relationship, and it should be noted that they did not actually marry until very close to the end of Joyce's life. They were in a common law marriage, and they had two children together. And throughout the years, bearing in mind, this is early 20th century Europe, politics are all over the place. James Joyce is trying to make it as a writer. Things are very, very chaotic, and because of that, they moved around quite a bit, and they also spent long periods of time apart. Particularly when James would go to Trieste in Italy, and Nora would stay home in Dublin with the children. So we have some letters from this time period, and they are indeed very saucy. No, saucy isn't even the word. They're downright smutty. They are absolute smut, and they discuss some very explicit acts and fantasies on the part of Joyce. We unfortunately don't have a lot of Nora's letters, so we don't know exactly what she said, but we can gather from his replies that she was very much on board with anything and everything that he liked. He has some pretty graphic paraphilic fetishes that include pee pee poo poo and farts. All right, look, they are worth reading just for that. They are wildly entertaining, and they have an excellent reread value. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in a bit of a down mood or a bit bored. You know what? I'm going to read the James Joyce fart letters for a laugh. And they are so entertaining. But the fact is, between all of those dirty fantasies, there is a real love and devotion that I want to explore today. So Just as an example, here are a few of the excerpts that I think are the most romantic. You are my only love. You have me completely in your power. I know and feel that if I'm to write anything fine or noble in the future, I shall do so only by listening at the doors of your heart. I would like to go through life side by side with you until we grew to be one being together, until the hour should come for us to die. I hear nothing but your voice, Nora. We have only one short life in which to love. My darling, tonight the old fever of love has begun to wake again in me. You alone know me and love me. So these are clear and beautiful expressions of a deep, resplendent love, such as rare in this life. And imagine being parted and having so much uncertainty, the war looming and being financially unstable, and just at least knowing that you do have each other and that you have this fire burning for one another that just will never be put out. Now, as I said in the beginning, I admire Joyce's can do attitude when it comes to intimacy. I am not saying that you need to be smelling each other's farts, as it seemed he enjoyed. However, going back to my video about The Ladies' Dressing Room by Jonathan Swift, I think we could all do with accepting our humanness and all that comes with it a little more, rather than seeing our bodies and all their functions as gross, to just accept them and see where that takes you. You may find that your partner gets a bit sweaty, but why not learn to love that smell? Or they may have an unsightly scar, why not kiss it? They may be a bit hairy, but no one ever came to any harm from a little bushwhacking. I hope you understand what I mean by this. I think when we don't have to be depraved maniacs, but I think when you love someone, you love everything that comes with them, including their somewhat animalistic nature. Loving and embracing that can lead you to a deeper understanding of each other and a deeper love for one another. And there's another example of in his letters, something that I think is actually romantic and relates to this can do attitude. There's a lot of talk about, body count matters and blah, 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 which is obviously horseshit. But in one of James Joyce's letters, he asks Nora, he wants to know if she's ever been with anybody before him. And I think he's guessing that she probably has, because she was pretty willing and seemed like she knew her way around his trouser buttons and things like that. And while he's asking, I think he doesn't really care either way. I think the reason he's asking is because it's going to turn him on either way, because then he says, even if you were here and even if you told me that half the red-headed louts of Galway had had a go at you, I would still rush at you with desire. And it is silly and ridiculous and horny, but it's also really sweet. He's saying, I don't care if you have a body count, I still want you all the same. So these two clearly loved each other. They lived in utter devotion to their relationship. James Joyce worshipped at the altar of his Nora, and look at where it got them. A legacy of love. On his deathbed, he called out for her. And what an honor it is to love someone that deeply and to walk with them side by side. And as he wrote in his letter, until their inevitable death. So go ahead and read through the letters today. I dare you. It really is a rollicking good time, but do it with a different lens rather than just giggling like school children. And I know you won't be able to help yourself. Just read the bonds of love through those passages. Read the faithfulness and the intensity of it, and ask yourself, do I have a love like that? I hope you enjoy this video. I am working on a bigger series that's going to be a little more intense. So I just needed a little breather, do something a little more lighthearted. And it's also school holidays. So I'm really strapped for time. But hold on tight. As I said, I'm gearing up for something big and exciting, and I am a little bit anxious about it, but I'm trying to have the courage of a lion. That will give you a little clue as to what the next series is. So, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time.